The opportunity that is in front of me is a bill that really does not help me resolve some of the issues and the problems that my district is facing. And furthermore, it creates a problem that many other cities now fear will create a problem for them. So I read the letters that came from the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, the League of Minnesota Cities, the Association of Counties, imploring us not to do this. Not to do this, Senator Weber. That's what they are telling us. Please don't do that. So I wonder what kind of legislation is this? And in the floor, our rules really said that, we shouldn't judge and just, speak about something that we believe is the intention. But these organizations are asking what is the point of this legislation. And my constituents members are asking exactly the same question. What is the point of the work that the Senate majority is doing? And I don't have an answer for them. And Senator Weber, what I would like to tell you is that I have a lot of business owners that are asking for help right now. So I have the owners of a grocery store, very small grocery store. They have worked so hard to save money. Their grandchildren are now working in this store because they cannot afford to keep the employees. And their grandchildren are helping Elvira and Humberto deal with the businesses. They have not recovered. And they have asked, can you please help us resolve some of these problems in the city and provide some economic subsidies so that we can move ahead? Minnehaha Lake, Mr. Steve Krause and his son have worked so hard. Many of you visited that corner in my district. 43 years of work. They have not been able to rebuild their store. They need help. A distillery owned by the first African-American person who owns a distillery in the Midwest, Mr. Chris Montana, is asking, could you please help us,
Mr. President,
so that we can rebuild this business?
Senator Rosen, for what reason do you rise?
Point of order, please.
Please state your point of order, Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could you please give us a reminder that all remarks should be made to the President?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Rosen.
Just a reminder, members, please address your comments to and through the President. Senator Torres Ray, please continue.
Thank you, Senator Rosen. Thank you, Mr. President. I have a restaurant owner from Gandhi Mahal who has invited many of you members to come and have dinner in his restaurant before, who escaped war in his own native country, has owned a business for 10 years, has not been able to rebuild. He doesn't have the money to do it. And my question, Mr. President and Senator Weber, is how this bill actually helped me answer those questions. What can I tell my constituents about your bill that actually answers to this painful situation that they face right now? I have to tell you what I am thinking. I don't know what my constituents are thinking right now about this bill. I know that after we pass this bill, they will be asking me this question. But what I have been thinking about, Mr. President and members, is about the times when people who represented the Twin Cities for many, many years became senior senators, and they chaired the Tax Committee, the Finance Committee, Dick Cohen, Larry Pogemiller for so many years. And criticisms were made that they actually favor policy, especially in education, for the Twin Cities to address disparities. But I remember that during the last 20 years that I have been watching these actions, they always try to bring us together and say, okay, we have some problems with sparsity in education in rural Minnesota. How can we solve our disparities in education in urban core and resolve sparsity problems in rural Minnesota? There was always this transaction that occurs here that I have criticized for many, many times, because I do believe in transformational policy. But transactions take place here. And we have always come together to say, okay, we can do something for greater Minnesota, but we also need to do something for urban Minnesota, for suburban Minnesota. Let's sit down and figure this out. Members, for as long as I have been in the minority, I have not felt that. We have gone in the opposite direction. During the last 3 years, I have just faced this incredible, pain here, trying to even call sometimes members of the majority who do not return the calls to have a hearing on bills that are authored by the minority. But this really went far when my own district and my own city faced some tremendous difficulties last year, and many businesses were burned down. To this day, and I have said this before, Mr. President, the only person in the minority who's ever called me to say, what can I do, it was you, Senator Miller. Have not been able to even get in touch with Senator Rosen. Have not been able to make an appointment with Senator Gazalka. What kind of a place is this? What kind of work are we trying to do now? How do we speak to our constituents about their families, their future? I do not know. I have to confess, Mr. President, Senator Weber, and members, that I am angry today, and I'm thinking, I hope I become a chair so that I can put a bill about LGA and really keep my money, because my city is the economic engine of this state. It just so happened that I have a growing population in my district. People want to come and live in Minneapolis. We have a tax base that supports rural Minnesota because your communities are declining. You do not have a tax base as big as mine. You do not have the population that is required for the population and the works and the jobs of the future. I do. I am committed to work for the entire state of Minnesota. The Twin Cities are the economic engine of the state of Minnesota. Our taxes pay for your roads, for your police officers, many things that you do not have the tax base to pay for. I hope you remember that my city is in need today. I hope you remember that these people that I mentioned and many, many others are suffering, and all we're asking is to please take a look at our suffering and act as policymakers who care. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. And Mr. Weber, Senator Weber, I just would like to ask the question again about what are you trying to solve with this bill. I just want to hear it. I just want to tell my constituent not what your intention is, but practically what this bill resolves. And also, have you read the letters from the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, from the League of Minnesota Cities? Could you please tell me if you agree or disagree with their request and their assessment and what they are telling you in these letters? Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, members.